Good morning. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights releases a statement regarding Japan's denial of the issue of its sexual slavery before and during World War II. Hundreds gather in Seoul to protest the bloodshed in the Gaza Strip, where some 1,900 have been killed. Shin Se-min has a special report. A legendary singer and an entertainment icon, but he is also regarded as an established artist with something to prove. Rock festivals have grown exponentially in Korea. Joey Mercadante experienced it and brings the festival to the studio. On Korea Today, Thursday, August 7th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Nice to have you along on a Thursday morning. It's raining outside currently, and this rain could be heralding in autumn, as today is Ep6, or the beginning of autumn, according to one of the seasonal divisions.
And it's another day, too.
Right. This year, the last day of the 3 hottest day of the summer season, Mailbok also falls on this day. So it's going to be a bit cooler for Mailbok because it has to be a hot day today.
And you know what Mailbok means? You have to have samgyetang, or the chicken soup, right?
Yep, the chicken ginseng soup that's supposed to revitalize you for the summer months. But, you know, this strange mix that we're getting with a typhoon rolling in, bringing in some rain onto the peninsula on Mailbok Day, and also on the day that autumn is supposed to begin. So this is a strange mix that we're getting on this day.
Anyhow, we have to have samgyetang for breakfast. Anybody?
Lunch.
For lunch? All right. Well, we'll shift gears now and get a check on our top story. The United Nations top human rights official has expressed regret that Japan has failed to pursue a, quote, comprehensive, impartial, and lasting resolution to the issue of its wartime sexual slavery. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Nabil Pillay, said in a statement Wednesday that the issue is not relegated to history, but that it continues to violate the rights of the women who are forced to provide sex for the Japanese military as long as their justice and compensation are not realized. The outgoing UN official also criticized a Tokyo report released in June, which stated that it couldn't confirm that the women were forcibly recruited. Seoul's foreign ministry welcomed the statement and urged Japan once again to take sincere and responsible actions to resolve the issue that has been a stumbling block to improving Seoul-Tokyo relations.
And negotiations for the transfer of wartime operational control, or OPCON, from Washington to Seoul is likely to be moving towards an extension until 2020, when South Korea's military forces are expected to have stronger capabilities to deal with North Korea's threats. South Korea's Deputy Defense Minister Ryu Jae-seung and his counterpart David Helvey on Wednesday held their second round of talks in Washington, focusing on North Korea's nuclear and missile threat and South Korea's current military capabilities. The current timeline for the OPCON transfer is currently slated for 2015, but was put on hold and on the table for renegotiation following North Korea's third nuclear test, citing a different security situation on the peninsula. Sources say the two allies are in agreement on putting off the transfer. The second round of talks, set to last through Thursday, are the last round of talks before the annual defense ministerial meeting in Washington in October, where the final decision is to be announced.
And starting today, companies and websites in Korea are banned from collecting and sharing national ID numbers. Under the new law set to go into effect starting on this Thursday, violators will face fines of up to 30 million won, or about $30,000. The Ministry of Security and Public Administration says collection of the 13-digit numbers will only be allowed under certain circumstances concerning the protection of lives or property. The measure follows a series of personal information leakage cases involving credit card companies and popular website operators. Citizens had been widely required to present their ID numbers when making online transactions and other services that need identification.
Over in Gaza, a 72-hour ceasefire between Israel and Hamas holds entering its second day on Wednesday as negotiators from both sides meet in Egypt to discuss a longer-term agreement to end the month-long fighting. Now, this conflict, which has killed nearly 1,900 people so far, of which roughly 70% are civilians, has raised deep concerns worldwide, with activists staging demonstrations in different parts of the globe. And in Korea, there was a gathering this past weekend, and our Shin Se-min was out there and brings us more details. So, Se-min, tell us more about the protests that took place over the weekend.
Yes, where I am standing now, the Gwanghwamun Plaza, is where the demonstrations took place this past Saturday. Now, the pro-Palestinian activists have gathered for the second time this past weekend to voice their anger at what they believe is an unreasonable force being used against Israel, and what they believe as an unreasonable force being used by Israelis in Gaza. And I was able to talk to some of the protesters as well as Israeli embassy official here in Seoul. From the U.S. and Germany to France, people around the world are gathering in protest of the blood being shed between Israel and Gaza. And they are also gathering in Seoul. On Saturday, over 200 people of different nationalities came together to condemn what they view as Israeli atrocities being carried out in Gaza. Members of a Palestinian solidarity group and a non-profit organization called Nanum Munhwa say they want just one thing: freedom for Palestinian civilians from the continuous attacks.
We are trying to make our voice arrive to the world that it's wrong and it should be stopped. As long as Israeli they are using these weapons for killing people just without any human feelings, it should be stopped. It must be stopped.
David Levy, the deputy chief of mission at the Israeli embassy in Seoul, expressed regret over the loss of innocent lives on both the Israel and Palestinian sides, but also said the war isn't against the Palestinians, but rather against Hamas, which he described as a vicious terror organization.
No country can accept missile fire aimed at civilians, and Israel has the right to defend itself and protect its citizens. And we are doing whatever we can when targeting Hamas to prevent any damage to non-involved civilians in Gaza.
Regarding the protests taking place on Korean soil, Levy says that the embassy was informed by the Korean police about this past weekend's demonstration. He also called it a clear manifestation of hatred.
The embassy expressed its concern to the Korean government, and we are confident that the relevant agencies are taking the necessary measures for our security and for prevention of these anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic demonstrations from becoming violent and dangerous.
A number of temporary ceasefires have come and gone in Gaza since the conflict began on July 8th. The UN Security Council has called on the international community to work toward a peaceful resolution to the growing crisis, saying the region cannot afford another full-blown war. The 15-member council also emphasized a need to improve the humanitarian situation. However, those at Saturday's rally in Seoul weren't optimistic about the efforts.
We are not expecting anything from the world, really. The world is just the politicians are wasting time, and others are selling guns. They are taking a chance for business. It is gun business. This is the world, really. We are all human beings. We have the same blood. You are Korean, American, Israeli, Jordanian, Palestine. We all have same blood. But why Palestinian blood is very cheap?
Some of the outrage over the weekend was directed at the South Korean government. Amnesty International has called on Korea to stop arming Israel, saying that arms trading between Korea and Israel over the last 5 years has amounted to more than $22.7 billion. The local branch of Amnesty International says it's launching a petition by collecting signatures meant to convey that message to the South Korean government, along with a letter expressing concern to Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se. The South Korean government has yet to make an official statement about the issue.
So, Semin, these Palestinians who participated in Saturday's demonstration, do they have any family members in Gaza, and were you able to hear any of their personal stories?
Yes, most of the Palestinian activists at the demonstrations that I was able to talk to say they have lived in Korea for quite some time, some of them over a decade. But most still have their families and friends living in the Gaza Strip or in the nearby states. For instance, Islam Bakar, one of the protesters on tape, told me that he calls his family every day, basically, to check up on their safety. And so far, they are safe up until now. And Bakar also told me that every time he hears a news about a truce being interrupted by either side, he gets extremely concerned.
Right, I'm sure they must be very worried about their family's safety there. So, are there any protests in schedule here in Seoul? More protests?
Yes. The pro-Palestinian activists are staging more demonstrations in the future. And actually, they're meeting up again tomorrow here at this location on Friday, local time. And unlike their previous weekend gatherings, the reason that they're meeting on this Friday is to mark the first month of the bloodshed in the Middle East. Now, not only the demonstrations, but also the members of the nonprofit organization, the Nanum Munha, are also planning on visiting the area to provide humanitarian aid. Jinju?
There has been so many casualties, especially civilian casualties over the past month, and I guess the international community as a whole wants to see this conflict come to an end as soon as possible. Thank you, Semin, for that report. That was our Shin Semin on the Israel-Gaza conflict and the demonstrations taking place in Seoul.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. The top story on the major papers this morning is the government's proposal from yesterday regarding tax code revisions. But before we go into those features, let's begin with 조선일보's headline regarding two South Koreans that were executed over in China for drug trafficking. The headline says just that, 2 Koreans executed in China for dealing drugs. Now, the 2 men aged 53 and 45, surnamed Kim and Baek respectively, were executed yesterday for smuggling methamphetamine and selling it to South Korean cartels. Now, here, if you take a look at the sub-headlines, it notes that the Korean government had repeatedly requested for a delay of the executions from a humanitarian standpoint, but 9 days ago, China notified it would go ahead with its decision. Another person, a 56-year-old identified only by his surname Tang, is reported to be awaiting execution as well. Now, on the latest execution, Seoul's foreign ministry expressed regret, saying it will provide support for the bereaved families, such as for the return of the body's remains. And bringing things inside Korea now, we'll take a look at a headline here on 중앙일보. This one's on pension laws that are looking to be revised. The header says government works to reform military and public officials' pension system. The government believes this is the right time to put in its best effort in reforming these pension laws, particularly amid public outrage over the death of a soldier, which I mentioned yesterday, as well as the general public sentiment following the Seoul ferry tragedy. Now, after the truth behind the death of the soldier was revealed to the public opinion has been building on the notion that the military receives an excessive amount of pension, although it cannot even manage enlisted soldiers under their care. Now, not to mention, if we take a look at this graph, it shows the drastically accumulating budget deficit of pension for public servants, as you can see here, as well as for military personnel. Now, the biggest problem with amending these laws is that no administration so far has been successful with reforming the already established pension system that involves the public sphere. And meanwhile, over on Gyeongyang Shinmun, this story in the corner. And this one is on tax-targeted corporate cash hoarders. The article is titled, Government to Levy Tax on Companies with Excessive Reserves, but Many Larger Conglomerates to be Unaffected. So the Finance Ministry yesterday said that it will tax companies with excessive internal reserves as part of efforts to funnel corporate money into consumers and revive the lackluster private consumption. Now, this additional tax will be applied to about 4,000 companies, or roughly 1% of all businesses whose equity capital exceeds $50 million. However, as the headline mentions here, this paper is critically stressing that many of the larger conglomerates such as Samsung Electronics and Hyundai Motor will not be paying additional taxes or simply paying just a small sum, which is raising suspicions on the validity and effectiveness of this law. And lastly, let's take a look at the Korea Economic Daily for the top story here on dividend tax. This header says government to ease tax rates on dividend income from 14% to 9%. So this is another pillar of this year's tax revisions, a lowered tax rates on dividend income from the current 14 down to 9% to boost dividend payment and increase cash holdings of stockholders. Now, if you take a look at this list, just briefly skim through a couple more features in the amended tax bill. Number 2 on the list here. It says small and medium-sized companies can receive a 10% tax reduction on the amount of money used in raising salaries if the hike is larger than the previous 3-year average salary growth. As for number 3 here on the list, it says the tax deduction ceiling will be expanded on personal annuity savings and retirement pension products from about $4,000 to $7,000. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for this Thursday. And now coming up are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
To get a check on the weather. Since Ip6 and Malbok fall on the same day, I really don't know what to think about the weather today. Is it hot or is it cooler?
Well, you know, forget about the weather because what I'm hoping for is to take advantage of both things, right? Malbok, I'm going to have that food, and Ip6 and try to expect some cooler weather. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. All right, we'll turn to Chun Sung-cho, who's standing by for us outdoors for a check of today's weather conditions. Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning, guys. I'm reporting live by the Cheonggyecheon stream. Yes, like you guys have mentioned earlier on, today is Malbok, which wraps up the last of the dog days of summer, as well as today is Ip6, which is the beginning of autumn. And maybe because of that, conditions have cooled down a little bit. It is drizzling on and off here very lightly here in Seoul, and these rain clouds will move on over to the southern regions in the afternoon, releasing up to 40 millimeters of scattered showers. And we also have a typhoon coming up, Typhoon Halong, which is expected to pass through the southwest part of Japan all throughout this weekend. It has developed and grown in size, with outer bands reaching 300 kilometers across. So the southern and the eastern part of Korea will be affected by torrential rainfall and strong gusty winds on Saturday and Sunday. Especially along the coastline, waves might reach up to 4 meters in height, so people should definitely watch out for inundating storm surge as well as destructive winds. And with that, let's move on over to get a closer look at today's forecast. Due to a trough of low pressure over the mid-peninsula, there's a trend of lower temperatures all across the country. Seoul, Daegu, and Busan's midday highs stop right before 30 at 29. Gwangju and Jeju the hottest at 30, and Daejeon and Gangneung remain the coolest at 27 degrees Celsius. Rain will linger with us for a while until the beginning of next week, so get your rain gear ready. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to you, Minjung.
Ebola is moving swiftly despite efforts by medical professionals to control the outbreak. Let's turn to our Eunice Kim, who has the latest for us this morning from the News Center. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Minjung.
The death toll has been rising, and the latest is that we could be seeing a first casualty tied to the virus outside of West Africa.
Indeed, it hasn't been confirmed medically yet, but Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Health says it believes a 40-year-old man may have contracted the Ebola virus during a recent business trip to Sierra Leone. He had shown symptoms and he died on Wednesday at a hospital in Jeddah. The ministry has submitted samples from the man to the U.S. and German laboratories for testing. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has released another update on the number of people who have fallen to the Ebola virus. Just between this past Saturday and Monday, 45 new deaths were reported from the West African nations of Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, with the number of new cases ticking up to 108. By 108. The WHO is also holding talks in Geneva on whether to declare a global health emergency and also whether to use the experimental drug ZMapp in future treatments to tame the virus. Now, on the ground in Gaza, the 72-hour ceasefire is holding for a second day, while representatives from Israel and Palestine are engaged in indirect talks to reach a longer-term truce. Negotiations are taking place in Cairo via Egyptian mediators, a process expected to be long and hard. Palestinians are calling for an end to Israel and Egypt's blockade of the Gaza Strip that prevents commodities and individuals from going in and out of the region, dealing a heavy blow to the region's economy. Israel wants Hamas to disarm completely. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blamed the high civilian death toll in the conflict on Hamas, which he said had used residents as human shields. Meanwhile, the United Nations says more than 500,000 Gaza residents were displaced in the battered Gaza Strip. That's about 29% of the territory's inhabitants.
And in China, rescue crews are still poring over debris left behind from China's devastating earthquake on Sunday. And a miracle of sorts, an 88-year-old woman has been rescued with little injuries.
You're absolutely right. Xiong Zhengfen was found by emergency crew Tuesday after being buried under the rubble for some 50 hours that had crashed on her following that magnitude 6.1 earthquake in Yunnan province. She was found in Babao village near the quake's epicenter. Doctors said she was, or rather her vital signs were normal, and China's Xinhua news agency also saying that another senior resident was rescued, aged 76, also in stable condition. The fate of hundreds of others, though, not so fortunate, and an additional 179 people were confirmed dead on Wednesday, bringing the death toll from the quake to 589. Optimism to find more survivors is low, as the 72-hour so-called golden period for rescue has now passed. And with that, we'll wrap your look at the global headlines we are following this morning.
And coming up later on Korea Today, rock it out this summer at the season's music festivals. Embrace the heat as you dance to the music and eat the tastiest foods of Songdo in Incheon City. Joy Mercadante brings you the details on Korea Discovered.
We've been talking a lot about idols and other superstars who mix their talents together to perform on the stage, on the live stage, and musicals and more. But there are also artists out there who are singers, musicians, and at the same time, they put their art on canvas. And our Im Yoon-hee joins us to talk more about one specific veteran. Good morning.
Good morning. So we're talking about none other than Cho Yong-nam. Now, he's a very well-known character here in Korea for his many artistic contributions.
And a unique character as well.
Right. And so his most recent art exhibition that he released is called Wangda, which is a term used to refer to those who are left out or outcast. So take a look. He's a legendary singer, an iconic face in the industry. But he also is a well-showcased artist, with plenty of works to share. From the old to the very young, most everyone on the peninsula knows Cho Young-nam and his eccentric character. He has fans as both a legendary singer, but also as an established artist. And with so many people around him, the phrase left out doesn't really come to mind. But Cho Young-nam feels otherwise.
The reason I called it left out is because contemporary art is considered left out or outcast. The general public doesn't really like contemporary art. Even to me, it can be so confusing. If someone wants to do contemporary art, the person could be an outcast or they can outcast others. Since I'm a singer and an artist, I sometimes feel left out as well. So I use that idea for this exhibition.
His creations are inspired by objects of art, and they reflect the various influences throughout his life. Everything from collaborations with foreign artists to a different kind of floral bouquet. Cho Young-nam shows his creativity isn't limited. But throughout his works, one thing is consistent, and that's his trademark hwatu, one of Korea's favorite playing cards. It's a flurry of nostalgic images, along with other flashbacks in not only his life, but in Korea's history as well. And within his works is a sense of the playful humor he finds in situations, like this newly dating couple, set against the backdrop of a traditional Korean board game of baduk. But Cho shows another side to his art, a more serious aspect, in a collection that comes with a sense of patriotism, along with a heavy message, hoping for the union of a torn country.
In my opinion, the red and blue colours are a bit tacky and childish, so I pulled all the colours out, and now it's very elegant looking. Why the rip? It reflects our torn country's history and the separated state of Korea.
Cho Young-nam is not new to the world of art exhibitions. But he does differentiate himself, once again, with an art and talk show, where he interacts with the audience on a very personal level. It's hard to be humble when you're so capable of such different mediums in art. And Cho Young-nam is well aware of his brilliance, as well as the legacy he leaves behind.
You should call me. You are the father of the Korean contemporary art.
Korean contemporary art.
Yes, you should say.
I will claim it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Korean contemporary art.
The father of modern art. He's also old enough to be your father as well, right? But he's a very confident man.
Yes.
I mean, he's been known for his eccentric personality. He's one of those guys that kind of just says whatever he needs to say and just goes out and says it and does it without worrying about what others think. That's that artistic side speaking.
Which made for a great exhibition.
Exactly. So what did you think? So he's an encouragement to other people too.
Right, so I was able to, to interview him and to walk through the exhibition with him, and so that was a lot of fun, very interesting. So I got a personal view of all of his works, and so he has a story behind every piece, which he really does want to share. And so although he says he's outcast and left out, I think he really does want to be a part of the art community and a part of the community as a whole and share his story and have others share their stories with him as well.
Well, I think he also embraces being kind of an outcast in art and also in entertainment as well. I think he kind of has set that image. So you must have had some kind of a premonition about him. I mean, you've seen him on TV before in the past. Was he how you made him out to be?
I think I was a little bit surprised in the beginning. He was a little bit quiet when I first met him, but once he started talking, he was very proud of his artwork. He was very excited about everything, about the stories that he had to share, and so I think that really did, brighten up the mood and really did color him as an artist. And so towards the end, he was the Cho Young-nam that I did expect. But set aside those, the jokes, the humor, he really does have a good heart with his artwork as well. He does plan on donating the proceeds from the exhibition to the countryside to supply, art supplies for those out there, who are hard at reach, to get the art supplies that they need. So he really does want to encourage artists all over the place.
Well, it sounds great that he is doing things for a good cause as well. Thank you very much, Uni, for joining us today.
Always a pleasure.
All right, stay with us on Korea Today because during the summer, it's vacation season. You might be hitting the beaches, the pools, you name it, but you're going to be hitting somewhere with water, right? So how do you do your hair? How are you supposed to tie your hair? How are you supposed to style your hair? I mean, guys, we can just throw on a hat, and women too, but if you want to look good, you got to pay attention to this edition of K-Style. We have tips on how to keep your hair looking fashionable and styling even in the muggy summer weather.
And time now for a news sum up. A new study shows taking an aspirin every day could reduce the risk of developing cancer significantly.
That's right. This latest study was conducted by Britain's Queen Mary University of London. We'll get the details from our Seommi-sorang, who joins us from the digital room. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, that's right. So this British study, they looked at pretty much all the available evidence out there on the relationship between cancer and aspirin, including some 200 separate studies. So we're talking about some very reliable and trustworthy information here. So let me show you what they found. In healthy adults, 50 and over, taking a small dose, so we're talking about under 100 milligrams of aspirin every day for at least 5 years, reduced the chances of getting bowel, stomach, and esophageal cancer by up to 50%. But of course, consult with your GP first before you start this regime. Now, because the new ban on resident registration number collection starts today, the new MyPin system has been staying high up on the search rankings throughout the past 24 hours. And the legal battle between Samsung and Apple may be halted for now, but there'll soon be a full-out sales battle next month in September, with both the Galaxy Note 4 and iPhone 6 coming out in the same week. Now, one of the downsides to summertime here in Korea is the extreme humidity. Not only is it uncomfortable, but it can cause mold around the house. But lucky for us, there are some items around the house that you can easily find that will help absorb this excessive moisture. So let me show you. First, newspapers are an excellent choice. You can line your drawer with it to keep your clothes nice and dry, or scrunch them up to dry wet shoes. Used coffee grounds not only absorb moisture from the air, but can also make the room smell really nice, while burning candles lowers both the humidity and removes foul odors. So that's your tip of the day. Now on to the last item. The period film blockbuster Myeongnang or Roaring Currents is going very strong in Korea, almost setting new records every single day. But if you're in the States and have been feeling a bit left out, there's some good news for you because it'll premiere in the States tomorrow. You might have to search around a bit to see it though, because according to the distributors, it's slated for only a very limited release. They did add, however, that if it does well, and a lot of people come to watch it, they will gradually expand the theater numbers. Now this of course means that for actor Choi Min-sik, both of his films, both Lucy and Roaring Currents, will be out at the same time. And with that, it's a wrap for today's edition of your Daily News Sum Up.
And a good Thursday morning to you all as we kick things off with, you guessed it, the ongoing search for the next head coach of the South Korean national football team. But this time, there will be an update on the issue as Lee Yong-soo, the head of the technical committee, who is over in the Netherlands, will update the press on the current search. Now, Lee, who was reported to be in the Netherlands to speak with Bert van Marwijk in order to convince him to accept the position as the head coach of the national team, will update everyone on the negotiations. Now, reports say that the technical committee director will either state whether or not Van Marwijk accepted his offer and or talk about his plans if the offer was declined. With the September A matches about a month away now, the KFA will speed up their process in their search for the next head coach. And now staying with football, but over to the U20 Women's World Cup currently taking place in Canada. And with North Korea beating Finland 2-1 in their first match, South Korea went up against England in their first matchup. Now Group C kicks off with Korea hoping to repeat their performance from 4 years ago, and they did get a great start as Lee So-dam converts a spot kick in the 15th minute of the match for an early 1-0 lead. Now the second half, England levels the match with a goal from Martha Harris as the match ends up ending in a 1-1 draw. And now with that, moving over to some Wednesday night's KBO action. 2 of the games on the night were canceled due to rain, but the NC Dinos won the first game of their doubleheader 3-1 before the Lotte Giants won the second game 10-4. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the first place Samsung Lions take on the last place Hanwha Eagles. And of course, going into the game here, we shift over to the third inning of the game. Kim Sang-soo leading off the inning. There it goes. Back. Gone, and it's 1-0 Samsung. Before Park Han-hee makes it 2-0 with an RBI single to right. But we're going to go over to the 6th inning of the game. Kim Tae-gyun drills to deep right field. Gone, and it's now 2-1. 9th inning, Cho In-sung at bat, and there it goes. We're all tied 2-2. 11th inning of the game, Chung Gun-woo with the man on, and this one's driven to deep center field. Gone, and ball game over. The Hanwha Eagles win this one 4-2. And now staying with domestic baseball, after the LA Dodgers successfully brought over Ryu Yeon-jin from the KBO, there's been a ton of MLB scouts watching the KBO for more talent, but recently it's been Kang Jong-ho of the Nexen Heroes who's garnering a ton of attention from the scouts. Now the 27-year-old slugger, who currently set a league record for the most home runs in a single season for a shortstop with 31, has been the biggest interest among the MLB scouts. The Nexen slugger is a rare talent since it is hard to find a good defensive shortstop with power. Now, among the MLB teams, the St. Louis Cardinals have been aggressively scouting him, even videotaping his games as well. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day, and see you guys again for your sports needs.
Now, some may choose to stay indoors in the scorching summer heat, but some may go outdoors to enjoy music and all the excitement.
And to rock and roll.
Right. And our Joey Mercadante went to one of them, and he's here to introduce them.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am a big music lover, and I actually sing in a band here in Seoul, so I was really excited to get a chance to go to the Incheon Pentaport Rock Festival and see some professionals up close and maybe learn a thing or two. There were over 93,000 fans who visited this 3-day event.
Wow.
Yeah, and while I was there, I also checked out some hot spots in the Songdo area around Incheon. So there's lots to show you, and I think we should start right now. Songdo is best known as the Smart City and as the International Business District, but now it's quickly becoming a hotspot for summer getaways as well. So I'm going to tell you the best way to enjoy your time there.
What better way to enjoy the summer weather than an outdoor rock festival? I'm here at the Incheon Pentaport Rock Festival 2014, and I couldn't be more excited. There's so many bands I want to see, and I just love live music.
The Penta Park at Songdo holds some great festivals, but hands down, the most famous one has to be the Pentaport Rock Festival. This is where rock festivals were born in Korea, and right now it's one of the country's top 3.
It's like the Woodstock of Korea.
Yeah. This year marks Pentaport's 9th, and it just keeps getting better. There are 3 main stages and 2 smaller ones for different events. They have rock music, but they're expanding genres as well, moving into house, hip-hop, and reggae. There's so much to see, and the lineup always has stars like Lee Seung-hwan, Britain's Kasabian, Travis, and much, much more.
And Jinju, you're going to say?
So passionate people
I
there.
love that whether you're young or old, everyone just gets crazy together. And you can enjoy the music whether you know about music or not.
It's exciting. It's so much fun to be here. I love it. They always get a really, at least 1 or 2 great bands at the end of the day. And I love just being here in the daytime because people have so much fun.
You always seem to make friends along the way.
Yeah. That's probably the best part. There wasn't anyone complaining about the heat that day. Festival goers got a pool to cool off in. And just like the interview we just heard, young, old, male, female, everyone was taking part in the water fun and water fights. Now, you guys know I got some mad dancing skills, so I jumped in when I saw there was a group learning African dance moves.
Ooh.
I loved the variety that was available at this festival.
So it's not just
there
rock.
There are different genres besides rock, which is nice. Plus, they teach you stuff, and that's really awesome.
So there's more than one stage, right? Several different booths.
Okay, so this I'm a bit more confident about, playing the guitar. I felt like I was a part of the action at Pentaport, not just a spectator.
Look at you, you're a rock star right there.
All these people rocking out on the guitar, you get to do it yourself. Who knows, maybe I'll be here next year, 2015, Pentaport. Joey Mercadante, Cannibal Heart.
As a performer or as a spectator?
Cannibal Heart is the name of your band.
Is the name of my band, yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you're having this much fun, you're bound to get hungry, and of course, the festival has a food zone where you had your pick of foods to devour. I had the tandoori chicken. Or you could step off the festival grounds for a bite to eat someplace else. I chose a place with food as hot as the festival. Tasty, juicy galbijim, braised short ribs in a very, very spicy sauce.
Yum.
This is the spice level indicator, but I did something a little crazy and I went for level 3. It should be okay. I'm ready for the challenge. The galbijim is available in 4 levels, 1 to 4, with 4 being the most spicy. You can choose the level of hotness that you want, and locals already know that this place has sauce that will make you sweat and cry.
Can you see the sweat? Oh, it's getting hot.
Fight fire with fire. Hot, spicy food will help you sweat out that stress and wake up your taste buds. Re-energized, actually, by this spicy food. I'm ready to go back to Pentaport now and celebrate, party more, and I've got the energy to do it thanks to this delicious food. All right, now I'm going to show you some of the fun things you can do at Songdo. Leisure sports on water. This is Songdo Central Park, located between the tall forest of buildings. This is the first park in Korea with seawater canals. The canal has water taxis and water rides. Time flew by as I got a bite to eat and enjoyed some downtime at the park. And before I knew it, it was dark, and the night scene at Pentaport was insane. Everyone let loose, and the summer heat took a back seat to the music of the night.
I just love making summer memories like this. Today and tonight will be something I will never forget, and it's the reason why I love summer in Korea. Absolutely the best, and it's still not over for me.
Wow.
Rain must have been a welcoming thing. But you know, we were kind of debating on your band name. Now, is it Carnivore Heart?
No, Cannibal.
Cannibal, right?
As a side note,
Cannibal.
right?
Okay, we thought you were a big beef fan, so Carnivore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, it's a lot of fun going to these festivals, but I'm sure you've been to several rock festivals in North America as well. Now, how do you think it compares to Pentaport or some of the rock festivals here?
I think Korean rock festivals are really well organized. And there's great sponsorship, which also means there's a lot of free giveaways. In terms of what's different, I would just say something obvious like the Korean content. Obviously in Korea there's a lot more Korean bands, which I really enjoyed. Some of the sort of lesser known bands were really fun to listen to. It's kind of like finding a hidden gem, like, you know, you find out a band before they really become famous.
And I read that this year Pentaport was really big, especially because some of the other big rock festivals were canceled.
Right.
So who are some of the performing artists there?
Yeah, there were over 100 teams. So artists from Korea and abroad. Some of the notable ones when I was there would be Star Sailor. They're a British band. and the crowd seemed to love them. They had performed in Korea 4 years ago. They're back now after 4 years with their original members. Also, the headliner that Sunday when I was there was Travis, another British band.
Yeah.
And here's something really interesting. During the chorus of their song Closer, there were tens of thousands of paper airplanes being flown towards the stage. So it was quite beautiful. In terms of Korean bands, I really like this reggae band called stylin Haha.
Yeah.
And Urban Zacapa was also a great live performance as well.
Some reggae too there.
Right, I think I heard some of them. But for those who miss Pentaport, since it's over, where can we go? What are some of the other music festivals that's taking place here in Korea?
Yeah, you got a few options actually. This weekend is the Hyundai Card City Break. This one is probably one of the more famous ones because of Maroon 5 and Psy, Ozzy Osbourne.
And these are in the capital, in Seoul.
Yes, in Seoul. And then there's also the... Oh. And this one also has a variety of genres, which is great.
Right.
It's not just rock. And then we've got a Supersonic 2014, which is Queen's first performance in Korea. Queen with Adam Lambert. Also bands like the 1975. It's just great. So there's tickets for both of these festivals still available. And if you want them, check out the website.
All right, how about outside of Seoul, maybe in the Gyeonggi province or so?
Yeah, there is the Busan International Rock Festival,
that's in Busan,
which actually was supposed to start tomorrow, but because of the typhoon, it's being pushed back. So check out the website for information on that. If you're in Goyang or in the Gyeonggi-do province, there is the Goyang Rock Festival, and the headliner there is Shin Hae-chul. And his comeback performance is after 6 years of taking a break off of music, so that's going to be a great show. And at Goyang, there's all kinds of great Korean rock artists that will be there. And I really recommend that you check that out.
We'll do some headbanging.
Do some headbanging, yeah.
Right? So there are a lot of music festivals still to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Joey, for that today.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Everyone's taking off for summer vacations, and we want you to be the most stylish looking on yours. Today we're going to focus on hair and what styles would look best on you.
Playing in the water can mess up your hair, so I'm going to show you styling tips to keep your hair in place.
Braids keep your hair in place in and out of the water. Take a handful of hair from the crown of your head to the front. Divide that hair up into 3 sections and braid. Just remember to braid in some hair on the sides too. Take the front braid and tie it up high with the loose hair in back. Divide the loose hair into 2 and braid each. Then take all the braids and twirl them into a bun. Variations on your half ponytail and ponytails are popular too, so keep that in mind for your summer styling. Another way to show off fashionable do's is to use hats. Don't just don a hat, though it may seem counterintuitive. Style your hair before the hat. Tease for volume, then take thin strands from behind your ears and braid.
Combine the braids with your waves and tie the braids off around chin length.
Now add the hat. This will look nice without looking like you tried too hard.
Now we will use bobby pins to make waves.
Now for some easy waves. Use a straight or curling iron, then mold those waves with your hands. Just make sure the heat setting on the iron isn't too high. A better way to set the waves in your hair is to use bobby pins.
If you use bobby pins, the waves will set as your hair cools. They give your waves more bounce and volume.
After about 5 minutes, Undo the bobby pins and brush out your waves for a natural two-sword look. Make yourself unforgettable with a great hairdo this summer, up styles or down.
Good morning. So we're going to be talking about hairstyles today, something that we haven't done in this segment for a while. And we're going to be talking about summer hairstyles. And if you think of summer hairstyles, young culture these days, braids are all the rage. So first of all, we've got our lovely Misorang and our model here as well joining us today. So today we're going to start off with the braided fringe technique. So I'm going to show you what a lot of celebrities these days are doing. So first of all, take a section starting from like the side part. That's the best part, the best way to go. So take about a 2 centimeter thickness of hair and split it horizontally into 3 different sections, like so. And just like a normal plait, you just want to take it over and across, so the right part over the middle, then the left part over the middle as well. And as you take it down across the face, you just want to pick up some extra hair on the side.
So this is the 벼머리 that we're doing, right?
벼머리, that's right, yeah. So I'm just taking some extra hair off the side of the face. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep plaiting it across. And this is going to act as a sort of decoration to your face. Just like eyebrows are the decoration to your facial features, the hair is the decoration to your face. So I'm just going to take it down the side. And once you get to about the eyebrow length, you can just take it down and continue to braid it down in a very simple way.
It's very cute.
It is cute, and if you do it in a loose way, it looks kind of like boho style. So you can take it all the way down or just about halfway and just tie it up. So this is a really cute way to do your hair, just as you saw in the video, but you can do like a couple of these across, just taking it down across the side of your hair like so. So that would be really cute. And you can also pair this together with up styles as well, which I'm just going to show you now. So if our model could just raise up a little bit off your chair. She's sitting a little bit low for me because I couldn't reach the top, but if you could just bring it up, I'm going to show you a different hairstyle using these cool headbands that have a scarf attached to them.
And I'm going to follow to see if I can do it as well by myself.
So I'm just going to place it behind the ears. And this looks really good with those little braids that I've just done. If you've got a couple of them in your hair, it adds a little bit of texture. So I'm just going to part it into half.
Okay.
And you've got one scarf on either side.
Yep.
And Misorang's a very good learner. So it would be good if you tied your plaits with a clear hair tie, by the way. So what I'm going to do is basically take 3 sides, 3 different parts, equal in size. Just a normal plait.
Just a normal 3-strand plait.
But the way to really get this looking nice is to kind of get it a bit loose and two-sword looking.
Oh, okay.
So make sure that you don't do it too tight.
Too tight, all right.
So I'm just going to like weave it through, and you can see the scarf is like becoming one together with your plait. Right. That looks so nice on you because of the contrast with the green of your black hair. So yeah, it's good to choose the right color as well. And using the end, you just want to tie it around.
Oh, okay, so you just use a scarf to tie it in the end? Oh, okay.
Well,
that's a nice trick.
So in a nice little loose manner. And you can tousle the hair up a little bit, just mess it up a little bit, and just do both sides like that. So this is just one style with this hairpiece, but you can do many other styles with this hairpiece as well. So you can do it backwards, you can do it all in one French plait. Thank you.
She reminds me of the female character from the movie The Lover, if you guys know, of Jane March. No?
No.
Bye.
If you'd have told me Pocahontas, I would have been like, okay.
You guys are too young, I suppose.
Have you seen it? No, it's true. So this just adds a sort of like cute floaty touch to your outfit.
I was thinking Pee-Pee Longstocking.
That too, oh yeah. Of course, yeah.
And if you're wearing sort of like a snapback and a vintagey sort of outfit, this looks even more cool and cute. So that's one style.
And I'm quite surprised that Misorang could get that done so well all by herself.
Very good.
Of a mirror.
That's all she does on her free time. Just mess with her hair.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we've got those different hairstyles, and because of lack of time, I can't show you, but I wanted to I wanted to show you these cute little portable hair tools that you can take around with you for your holidays. And because they're different shapes and sizes, you can actually get different techniques out of it. There are straight ones that you can clamp and get like the 물결 wave, what's that?
Like glam waves?
Yeah, just what is it? Water wave. Yeah. And there are these ones, it's so small, but it's so portable at the same time. And it's really safe for young girls to use as well.
I think it'll be good to do the little bits of hair because they're so small.
These ones make very, very natural waves. And there's just these really tiny clampers for if you've got like little parts of your roots that you want to get done. So there are little tools that you should be aware of when you're going to your summer holidays. And hopefully this is giving you some ideas for this summer and your hairstyles. And our model and Misorang is looking really cute. So that's it for today. I hope that this has brought you some ideas for your hairstyles for this summer, and I will see you all next week.
All right, bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know what? You're pretty good at it too. It's like, that's all you do on your free time. You know what I noticed? You know, when you have those braids and you have it up in a knot, in Korea you have to wear a swim cap a lot. So for women, I think that might be a very, very easy way to keep your hair looking good.
Right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's all we have prepared for you on this Thursday morning.
All right, and we will be back on Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Yay. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.